Welcome to the 2350 Effect.
Well, it's Sunday. Welcome to the 2350 Effect. I'm the co-host, collaborator of the 2350 Network, the 2350 Effect, Damian Kinsey, and I'm joined by always my co-host, collaborator, Dr. Farran. Dr. Farran, introduce yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. Happy Sunday to everybody. I'm excited whether you're thinking Sunday is ending your week, that you're joining us for the end of your week or the beginning of your week. We're happy to be here to start this with you wherever you are in the world. Thank you for joining us. I'm Tania Farran. I am the co-host of this super fun show, the 2350 Effect, with Damian Kinsey, as well as the co-collaborator to many projects with Damian. By day, I am a middle school virtual principal. Our first day of school is tomorrow, so that's pretty exciting. And then I also owned Creative Living Ideas, which is the company that powers these great things like the 2350 Network, the 2350 Effect, the Work-Life Balance Summit. So yeah, happy to be here today.
Yes, thank you so much. And we have a special guest tonight talking about a lot of things HR, human resources. He's been a guest on the 2350 Effect. He's been a part of the Work-Life Balance Summit. He's going to be part of the Professional Work-Life Balance Summit coming up, the Wellness Experience he has been a part of before. He does social Saturdays. He does a lot around, HR, human services, and supports and conversations. On Monday, he's on vacation from his Monday show. Currently, he's a LinkedIn top voice, overall funny guy, does things with AI. He has a children's book. His children's book is young, fun, and interactive. Please welcome Felipe to the 2350 Effect. Felipe, welcome.
Thank you very much, Dr. Tanya and Damian. It's great to be here. It's always fun to hang out with the two of you. So thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, we're glad you're here. And actually, are you done with the second book, the book with your son? I thought that was coming soon, right?
It was supposed to come out on August 9th, my birthday, and we had a formatting issue with the formatter. So my publisher is using a different formatter to help us out. And so it is coming out in August. It's
nice.
Day.
Awesome. Congratulations on that as well.
Actually, wait, I can even show you. Here's proof of what it looks like.
Oh, right, nice.
The one-eyed cat. So there's the one-eyed cat. He was a real cat that we had. So it was definitely that's the one thing. They're all real stories that happen, except for the animals that didn't talk.
Yes, of course. Well, that's awesome. Congratulations to you for that. I'm excited to get my copy of that as well. And thank you to those of you in the audience, Christy Williams for joining us, Leslie Flowers, William Rochelle. Thank you very much for being here today as we dig in with Felipe. But we always start off with something different or something new or the same. What do we call it?
You want me to...
Nope, I think Damian's, I don't know. Are you frozen, Damian?
For some reason it's lagging. It's like
Yeah.
going into slow motion. But laugh, call, text is that thing in the last 7 days that made you either laugh out loud, call somebody, or text somebody. Yes, people are still texting and calling. People still use the phone and answer. So laugh, call, text is that thing. Um, so what is your laugh, your call, your text, Felipe, for the last 7 days?
Um, it would probably have to be the fact that, since my kids have all moved out of the house, my son's room, we've kind of said, oh, we'll kind of use as a guest room. And it just looks like my son abandoned the room and it's a leftover room is what it looked like. And so we have my daughter's wedding coming in October, and my wife's like, well, let's get the room organized this weekend. I'm like, well, do you want to do anything? And her family's from up north in the Adirondack Mountains. We always love cabiny feels. And as soon as she even said the word like Adirondacky or cabin, I'm like, that's it, cabin room. And I did what I always tell her and my family not to do. I went shopping on Amazon while drinking. I drank and shopped. and let me just tell you, when I say I drank and shopped, I didn't expend a boatload of money, but we have two new nightstands. We have a couple of frames. We have a nice what do you call it? A nice wooden lamp made out of a tree. And we had a lot of stuff here already, but so the room is very cabiny right now. And the funny part is that I took a family picture of me, my wife, the kids, and their fiancés. And I kind of said, let's AI this a little bit. Don't change our faces, but put us back in like the 1920s up in the mountains. Oh my God, the picture is hysterical. I'll see if I can send it to you all, but it is one of those things where even down to the clothing, it looked like the clothes were made out of potato sacks. Like it was that detailed. So it was very funny. So I framed it and like 8x10'd it and put it in the bedroom.
I love that. That's awesome. So is it going to be a guest room?
Yeah, it's gonna be a guest room basically, and when you feel or whenever somebody wants to relax and read and feel like they're in a cabin, go in there.
Yeah.
But it's we had a lot of things already from the family that they've given us from the Adirondack. We even had it carved out there from a tree trunk that was like 4 feet tall. Like, what are we gonna do with this?
Now it's going to go in that room. I love that. That will be such a fun place to hang out and relax and, just, I don't know, just kind of feel like you're in that vibe. Like that's
get away from it all a little bit.
Cozy, like a cozy spot. We would call that the cozy room in our house. Very
exactly. A cozy room, meditation room, cabin room, whatever you want to call it.
Love that.
And all you see when you look out is pine trees from that window, so it's awesome.
Oh man, that's awesome. Very cool. You'll have to do your show from there one day or something.
Okay, all right.
That kind of vibe, I love that. Well, my laugh call text, you all know that we are avid golf fans. We're out of town this weekend. Got a call to be able, the BMW Championship for golfers is in St. Louis, was in St. Louis this past week, about 30 minutes from my house. And so my cousin called and said, hey, we have 2 more tickets. Do you want to go? We said, no, we're out of town. Gave them to my daughter. I called my daughter and said, could you please get me a picture of Rory McIlroy, please? I would love that, and an autograph. And she's like, really, Mom? Do you think I'm going to get that close to Rory? And I'm like, you better. That's what Mom's response. You'd better. I would love that. And she laughed. She's like, okay, we'll see. So then I got a text of a video of Rory in the fairway hitting a shot. So he unfortunately took, I think, 3rd tonight. He did not win, but it was a great down to the wire last 3 holes. We watched it on TV. Pretty awesome. So yeah, that was my laugh caller text.
That's definitely a good one.
Yeah.
Third's not bad. Can't win them all.
No, I think he's still getting like 1.3 million or something like that. I think he'll be
3rd place.
Yeah, I think he'll be all right.
All right. Well, my laugh call text is yes, we have the summit. We have our sponsors, Leslie Flowers LLC. She's our gold level sponsor. Thank you to Leslie Flower for sponsoring the summit. This is her 2nd time sponsoring our summit. And the summit that we're talking about is the Professional Work-Life Balance Summit that's coming up in October. So many great presenters It's coming up on October 9th and 10th. It's virtual. You can get your tickets to that as well. And then we have more sponsors, individuals who have sponsored the Professional Work-Life Balance Summit. Nicole, um, she's sponsoring as well. Gifted Bipolar Writers. Um, she thank you for her support as being a sponsor. She's always bought tickets and supported our summits, and she's now a silver level sponsor. So thank you, Nicole, for that. Jamie Rocky Moore Best for helpful living ideas. She's our bronze level sponsor, and a lot of stuff goes into these summits, and we can't really do it without the participants, the presenters, and our sponsors as well. And I think we have one more, right?
No, we don't have one more. We do
Okay.
have Jackie is a vendor. So
Jackie's a vendor, sorry.
Jackie is a vendor
Jackie
right here.
Holberg's the vendor
Yeah.
for yes, advising, sorry. So she's a vendor for our summit, and Felipe is a presenter at our summit.
Yeah.
And Felipe is also going to be on a panel.
Yes, he
Panel
is.
discussion and conversation about, and you see him, Nick, Dr. Raheem Young, Dr. Sheila Thomas, and they're all going to be on the panel talking about, balancing your day job, your life, your professionalism with your entrepreneurship, which is so much of something that people should look at and want to see, and come out and join us and get your tickets at creativelivingideas.com. Click on it. It'll send you right to the page where you can get the information, and you can join us at the Professional Work-Life Balance Summit. And there it is. All right. So my first question, I have a question before we get into the top 5 things that human resource trends and whatnot. Speaking of trends, we are at August 23rd. Felipe, do you have all the materials and everything you need for your Halloween decorations? Because I know that's a real big thing in your neighborhood. A lot of work goes into it, a lot of energy, and you do so much to get in the community spirit. Do you have everything that you need, or you're still looking for stuff?
Yes. When does the decorating begin?
We don't say the H word until September. Okay, so so September 1st is when we're allowed to say the H word. Before then, it is still summer. Do not take away my summertime, please. I need to enjoy that. So September is when like the street meetings would start that we don't need to go to anymore. We're there drinking. That's all we're doing. But it's usually for the new people that just moved in and understand what happens and ask questions. So nothing yet, but I do think that we're prepared because I'm in a routine now where I go to the sales after Halloween and I usually buy some like good fun things, and then I forget what I bought until this Halloween. So I'm excited to see what I forgot I bought last year. And just to show you, here's the picture that I was telling you about when I made us all from 1920s. I don't know if y'all can see that.
Super cool. Yes.
Yeah. So just give you an idea of what it looked like. But yeah. So,
Very cool.
But yeah, we're not saying the H word yet, Damian. Sorry.
Nice. And hold on, one last quick follow-up question. Is that because school starts in September?
No, it's just 'cause, you know what? I think when we first got here and they started having the meetings for Scary Perry, and they would put like little notices in our mailboxes, I'm like, it's September. I'm like, why? It's 2 months away still. And so I felt like even that was too early, but I've come to accept it and just go with the flow. And honestly, now I start putting things in the backyard, and the whole neighborhood around here, ever since the pandemic, all the neighborhoods are decorating like 2-3 weeks early, kind of like they would for like Christmas. So I'm like, hell, I got the decorations. I might as well put them out early now.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's exciting. That'll be fun. It'll be like Christmas for you when you're opening up and seeing what your new
Yep.
stuff is that you bought.
And the fact that I can keep some of it up longer than just one day, that'll be nice.
Yeah. That's awesome. So those of you that don't know, I think that you had posts on it last year. They can dig into your profile and look at some of your pictures of the Halloween decorations that he puts out. There's a big to do for everyone. So check that out. So want to thank Be Visible with Me, 3582. Thanks for joining us on YouTube. We appreciate having you with us. Then thank you, Christy, for saying that your laugh call or text was a call with Bill. Hope it was a great call. And yes, I think Leslie said she'll come in and do Zen in that room. She prefers that Zen. Sounds good. Sounds good. Well, we wanted to talk. Damian and I were like, we want to learn more about the latest trends in HR and, some tips for the people in our audience. And we thought, who greater to ask and invite but other than Felipe? So we're excited to have you with us. Damian, do you want to start with the first question or do you want me to?
No worries, I got it.
All right.
So this thing, human resources, is the origin of it, the function of it. Like so many people think human resources is everything, and then some people think human resources is just when you get in trouble, here's where you go. It's like the principal's office.
Yeah.
Can you kind of describe some of the functionalities of human resources and what does it mean for human resources?
Human resources is definitely involved. I mean, it used to be back in the day, it was called personnel, and it was almost like a byproduct of accounting. I was like, oh, we have a new hire, get them in the payroll, give us the paperwork. You talk with the people, just give us the paperwork. Accounting didn't want to deal with people. And then it grew. And what it is today is it obviously is one of the primary functions is to make sure that the employee experience from when they get hired to when they get settled, to when they get promoted, to when they retire or quit or whatever, that they have a good experience professionally, safely, and career-wise, a chance to grow. And the areas that we cover that people always think, oh, well, HR just does firing and hiring. Well, it's a little bit more than that. So we handle performance management. So all the performance reviews, increases, compensation, how much you get paid, what are the pay bands or salary ranges for each job in every area. And if you're dealing with a global company like I do now, it's what are the pay bands in the UK versus Australia versus Costa Rica versus the US. So compensation is a whole other area as well. Then you have benefits administration. Any benefit, medical, dental, vision, your 401k, life insurance, all that stuff, they're in charge of. If you get hurt on the job, workers' comp, in charge of that. Training and learning development. All the training you do, whether you do it online, in charge of that, or you do it in person. Also, you have culture and development, where making sure that people are having a good, comfortable place of work and really creating opportunities for employees to engage and have fun. And then there's the legal and compliance side, which is the more principle thing where it's like, these are the things we have to do by law. Here's when we have to deal with attorneys. Here are the employment laws we have to follow and be compliant with and report with every year or every quarter. And so there's a lot of different parts. And of course, my favorite part, recruiting. That's one of the parts that even when I retire, I still want to recruit and train and coach. Those three things are I don't feel like I'm working when I do those three things. Oh, and I did forget payroll. Sorry, payroll's kind of important if you like to get paid. And that's probably my least favorite because it's such a repetitive thing. Payroll and benefits, people who like structure and repetition love payroll and benefits. People who like a little bit of chaos and uncertainty and creativity like recruitment, training, and coaching. So I think I hit everything there, but yeah, it covers a lot. And that's why, smaller companies have maybe 1 to 2 people. Bigger companies may have a team of 25 to 450. So it depends.
I've also noticed the change in, the term, like I forgot about it being called personnel. Like, I'm glad that you said that. It's been a long time since I've heard the term personnel, but then it went to HR, right? Human resources. And now I'm hearing the people experience people.
It went to people and culture during the pandemic a lot during that time period. And I think that was a good reminder, but that didn't stick. And for a number of reasons, unfortunately. But people experience tends to capture it. Because like I said, it's from the moment you start until the moment you retire or whatever, and everything in between. And I think a lot of people think, and a lot of HR people unfortunately think, oh, I'm just a paper pusher. I had someone that said, I just catch the applicants, you clean them like they're a fish. And I'm like, that really dehumanizes the whole experience, and really you look at them as numbers, not as people. And to me, I look at them as the whole experience. I want to see people grow. That like I get it when teachers say They love when they see their students grow and see them as adults and are doing so successful. I get that feeling that they need.
Yeah, love that.
I think the important part about having this discussion and seeing, like, personal account, employee resources groups is a part of it.
Yeah.
Giving people opportunity to get employee assistance, those groups as well. When employees have events that go on, life events that go on. FMLA, intimate FMLA goes with all those levels of human resources. And regardless of whatever level you are, the more you move up in your career, the higher you up, you will be a part of human resources as a leader. And in the course of my career, I've been a part of support services for human resources because of my job and role. Dr. Farran as well, part of hiring process, recruiting, all those things are part of human resources and HR. And also externally, I'm part of National Association for African Americans in Human Resources in AAAHR, and I'm part of their Young Professional Advisory Board. And the thing that kind of stands out is about building that next level and that next generation of human resources and those trends that are going on. That's why we kind of wanted to have this discussion and conversation around that too, the next generation as well.
I'm excited to have this conversation. And the one thing I'll say is, one of the things that, another term that people want to hear, and it's actually the title that I have right now, is I'm the Senior Human Resources Business Partner. And what that is that for larger companies, they've seen the value of kind of like really understanding how HR works. So I have my recruiting team, training team, comp team, benefits team. And so I can deal with the marketing employees. I have the customer service employees, the technology employees, and then I have them in Costa Rica, Puerto Rico, US, and one or two in Australia. As a senior HR business partner, my job is to make sure that everything they have for their employee experience is great. But it's also wonderful when you see those leaders, like you said, that have learned HR, because as a leader, their employees expect them to understand how things work. And I have those that are low maintenance that say, you won't hear from me, I won't need too much unless there's an issue. And others that I'm brand new, I need to learn these things in order to be a good leader. And that's the thing. You know that they're going to be a good leader because they're curious enough to want to learn.
So I have a question before we move on to our next question about that. Are you seeing in the last 10 years, are you seeing an increase or decrease in consultants being a part of HR, like external groups, consulting firms and groups?
I would say it's about the same. It hasn't changed too much. HR consultants are needed for a short season, and I stress the short part. They need them for a specific, analyzation of their succession planning or critical roles analysis, or they need us to do training, or they need us to, sometimes recruitment, but that's usually they look for recruiters, not consultants for that, even though consultants can do that. So I see it peak and valley, but I don't. It's about average right now.
Thank you for that.
Oh my gosh, you just make me think of so many things. I'm sitting here thinking, so I guess my question, and this really isn't the official question, but I guess my question is, I'm assuming within HR departments, people specialize in certain areas. I mean, you can't be doing all of it unless you're a very, very small company. When you have a very, very big company, I feel like, some of that has to be kind of specialized. This person has to be really focused in on maybe FMLA, workman's comp, like those types of things. Maybe this person's really in charge of payroll. I mean, there could be the overseer director or somebody like that. But is it hard to find specialty people, or do you grow and develop them with inside HR as well?
A little bit of both. I mean, we definitely grow inside of HR. A great example of that was when I was in hotels, high hotels. When I started off as, say, a recruit manager at a small hotel, I got promoted to be recruit manager at the larger hotel. And then I got promoted to be assistant director at a small hotel. And I became and then I went to a medium size and then a large hotel as the assistant director. And then I went to a small hotel as a director. And so I kept on doing that as levels. And when you're that big and you have those opportunities to give people to grow and all that in the DC area, so I didn't have to relocate. If I wanted to go faster and they had an opening in California and I was willing to relocate, I could move up faster. So that is definitely one area that is, if they do it right like that, there's a lot of opportunity. But because of that, I've learned when I was in the small hotels, I had to do everything.
Mm-hmm.
FMLA, benefits, payroll, recruitment, everything.
Sure.
When I was in big hotels, I had a person for every single area. So it really is something that it's good. I remember there was somebody, like a manager or a director that I had, that every time people asked her how to do something while one of us were away, she couldn't do it. And I just remember thinking, I don't ever want to be that disconnected that I can't help someone.
Sure. Yeah.
And so I think it's good to have specialists, especially as you move on in your career. If you know that you just love payroll, God bless you. We need people who just love your payroll. Same with benefits, same with training. So it's great. But it's also, for me, I've continued to grow and learn and get challenged. So I like the nuance and learning new things. Like right now, I'm dealing with a company that I've never been in this type of industry before. So I'm learning new things, how they do in that industry. So for me, it's always fun. And throw AI in there. I know we'll talk about it later. It just creates new, sometimes problems, but also sometimes new opportunities too. So, but specialties are good to have. Look, if I had my pick, like I told you, I do recruiting, training, and coaching, and let somebody else do the rest.
Sure.
But you don't always get to do that, unfortunately.
Right. I get it. I do get that.
Me thinking during these conversations, it's like the same thing probably with Dr. Farran's thing. We're thinking so much is popping in our heads, so many questions. This thing probably can go on for like 2 hours, to be honest. And when you were talking about it, I've been lucky to work with organizations or companies that have had big like departments. They had specialty departments. Only time I can remember is in the beginning of my career. Being in a place where they didn't have all that, and it kind of really was hard, and they struggled in doing that. It is not on my LinkedIn page. My career has expanded 30 years, so you won't know what company and organization it was. It's not on my LinkedIn, and it's way before. And that was the only time I can recall it ever really struggling with, because it wasn't really that many specialty places. It was a real small department.
And that's a shout out to all those solo HR departments, the Department of One. They are drinking from a fire hose, and it is constant. Now they have fewer employees, so it's easier to manage, but they still need to be knowledgeable about all areas. Now, like I said, I get curious. I'd like to stay on top of those things, but it's a lot. And I think that so a lot of people, when they're in those roles, kudos to you that do it, because it is tough. And those are the ones that tend to reach out to consultants a lot, because they don't have the specialties in all areas, and so they might have a consultant that does training, because they're like, I don't have time to do training. I'm a department of 1 or 2. So they are going to reach out to the consultants. And that's where I think training is the most common. And then recruitment too, when you're having struggles.
And let me add this also. That gave me the opportunity, and afforded me the opportunity to get involved more in human resources because of that. And I appreciate that, and the foundation of it, I still utilize to this day.
I would agree with that too. I mean, being a teacher, I think about that time, my knowledge of HR was very minimal, very minimal. I don't know. I only used it for what I needed it for personally, right? Probably didn't know that a lot of my training videos came from them, or the trainings that I had to do were mandated from human resources personnel at the time. And honestly, I remember, I don't even think that I took FMLA on maternity leave. I don't think it was even brought to my attention at the time, but that was almost 30 years ago. So possibly wasn't really brought to my attention, but I do know it should have been. You're right. Since I've become a principal, I thought
it was still fairly new, but it should have been.
But I'm telling you, since I became an administrator, you do have to have a good knowledge of it. And I will say, there's a lot of places who are not as prepared, like Damian said, with human resources, or they, like you said, they're drinking out of a fire hose because they have to learn every single thing and know every single thing. So let's talk about recruiting. We're still only on the second question now. My gosh, Damian's right. We could talk about this for hours. So we'll try to get through our questioning. HR and recruiting, I remember the last time, when I looked for this job, I knew that the job that I currently have, it was interesting to hear from a recruiter, to hear from, different terminology about, looking for this job and who you would speak to and the roles and processes you would go through. So give us some tips or ideas and thoughts about recruiting from the HR side as well as from an employee side who wants to, get a job somewhere. What are some things that people should know about?
Well, let me start off with the employee, the applicant side, because I was just there
Yeah,
for a good 4 to 6 months.
yeah,
It sucks. It is horrible. It's a hot mess right now. I'll admit it.
it is tough.
I think that out of, let's just say, I applied to 250 jobs. I got, outside of the rejections, I got one true response of a legit employer. All the other interviews were done through networking, through a recruiter that I talked to, through collaborations, word of mouth. It was very eye-opening because I've seen it bad before, but it's to the level where it's just so crazy. Now, saying that, and
Do
I'll
you
come
mean
back.
crazy like there's a lot of applicants, or do you mean it's impersonal and you're talking to
So
not
before I get from the recruiter side, from the applicant side, it's just you're a pin and a pile of pins in a haystack. Okay, and it's one of those things where we always say do this to stand out, but even standing out, okay, now you're just one pin in the haystack instead of a pin in the pile of pins. So it's one of those things where what needs to happen is a lot of stuff. There has to be a little bit more opportunities for people to get in contact with actual humans and not have AI do all the stuff in all the interviews. People who went all in on AI, they lost amazing candidates. And there is some impersonal stuff that's happening because recruiters are overwhelmed. So now from the recruiter side, let me tell you this. It sucks. It's horrible. It's a hot mess. One recruiter has, let's say, 5 jobs they're working on, and let's say there's 1,000 candidates for each job. I'm looking at that's 5,000 candidates I got to look at. Okay,
Mhm.
and I got hiring managers breathing down my neck saying, I need more candidates. I need better candidates. Can you look at this one? I have a referral. Oh, wait, this person here. Okay, can we call back this person?
Wait a minute. Were you in my office last May, April?
I mean,
When I was calling my HR recruiter and saying, "Can you get me some more applicants? I'm looking at this. I'm looking for this." They're like,
exactly. And again, we welcome that, but there are moments, and of course, then you have all the candidates saying, "What did I get an interview? Can I get an interview, or can I get a second interview, or I haven't heard back yet, or when am I going to get the offer?" And we don't want to lose the person we're making the offer to, but we don't want to lose a good candidate we just found. Oh my God! It's so you have to be very zen to be a recruiter. Let me just tell you.
"You're going to have to go in the cabin room."
Exactly. And I, for some reason, I love, one of my employees told me one time that I thrive in chaos. And I think that's why I love recruitment, because it is chaotic. And if you need structure, organization, don't go into recruitment, because it is not, there's structure and organization, but there's a lot of chaos. It's organized chaos. So what I always remind people is that be compassionate to those recruiters, because just like any other job, teachers, lawyers, whatever, there's good ones and there's horrible ones. So let's just stop hating on recruiters and understand what they're doing, and let's find a way. I still don't have a solution of how to make it better. You think technology should make it better, but it almost seems like it's making it worse, because then you have those fake jobs, and you have for all the people that are upset for all those ghost jobs and fake jobs. Can I tell you how much time I spent on fake candidates, or even worse, candidates who lied on their application? And then I found out because they worked at the place I worked at before. I'm like, wait, you weren't there when I was there. And so as frustrating as people are that recruiters or people are ghosting them, it's just as frustrating for the recruiters when an applicant goes to them, or even worse, the new hire that shows up for orientation didn't show up. Now, consider myself very fortunate that that's been a very rare occurrence. It's happened to me, those things, but I've seen it happen so much in other places. Sometimes it's the industry, it depends, but it's definitely happened. So it's both sides are having a struggle, and I don't know what the solution is other than let's connect and really build those relationships before we need them. As recruiters, I tell my recruiters all the time, get your pipeline of not names and job titles, of people that you talk to and that you know, even if it's just a DM back and forth. Get a pipeline of those people, because that's what I've always done, and it's always benefited me. When I reached out to Damian, for example, and said, "Hey, Damian, I have this job here. It kind of aligns with what you're doing. Do you know anybody that might be interested, or would you be interested?" I'm not a cold calling sales freak that Damian's could be like, stop pitch slapping me this job. I don't know you. I already have a relationship with Damian. We talked and chatted. So now, does it have to be as deep of a relationship with me and Damian? No. But a few DMs in the chat would be nice to have.
I think
a relationship with your recruiters.
I think you brought up a good point, because it is it's shifting, but it's shifting kind of back. Relationships were always a thing that took place in recruiting, human resources. Do you have any good candidates? It's the same thing when you look at it from a level of the collegiate level, from college going into in the pipeline of college and universities into Fortune 500 companies. It's always those level of where can we find good recruits, and I think that's so important. I went to a university a couple of years ago and had a conversation and talked about human resources to them, and it was a real big, like at UPenn, it was having that conversation around human resources, and it was more so like what to expect when it's time to actually get into the workplace. And I think that's kind of the disconnect that takes place. A lot of times I hear I hear from different industries, and they're going through the same thing. The employees who are coming in, the new recruits and candidates are coming into an environment of culture shock, of the speed of the work, or the expectations of the work, or the work-life balance and whatnot. But I know a lot of recruiters and a lot of outreach teams go out and do a great job of explaining, even training departments. And people don't understand that it's different, because when you come into it in real time, it will never prepare you for the conversation, any field you're in. The conversation can never prepare you for what happens in real time. It's kind of like when athletes say in the NFL, the biggest thing college players say in the NFL is they say the speed is so quick. Same thing in baseball and football. The speed is so quick. The speed of these jobs, and we have to understand that any job market that we're in any industry we're in, we're the professional elite level of it. We look at sports and sing and entertainment as elite level, but we're the elite level of what goes on. Elite level nonprofits, elite level city, state, government, elite level of private, Fortune 500, the elite level of parking attendants, school aides, and we need to have that conversation as well and understand that you're coming into the major leagues of whatever profession you're in.
And I gotta say, if you're out there and you're looking for, obviously, this might not apply for entry level jobs, but if you're looking for a professional level job, executive level job, there are outside recruiters out there that their full-time job is to try to find these candidates for these level jobs. I have this one recruiter that I gotta say, I've been fortunate that I've only had twice where I've been, my job eliminated and I was kind of left in the dust without a job. This is the one recruiter of all the recruiters I've worked at that always knew and understood what I was looking for. Would always be like, hey, you know what? There's a job. I don't think you'll like it. This is what it's about. And as soon as she said, like, yeah, I don't think I like it. It's like, that's what I thought, but I just want to make sure. And I'm so glad she did that, because it told me that she heard me. But she's also the one that is going to fight for me when it's time to get an offer. She's going to be the one that's going to look out for me if it's not a good situation or they have bad history. So those recruiters out there that are standalone or maybe they work for an agency that companies hire, they really are amazing because they're trying to find the best candidate for the company, but they're also fighting for you to get hired. And selfishly, let's be honest, the more that the company offers you, the more they make off of the company. So it's a kind of a win-win. So they want you to get a bigger offer so that they can get a higher percentage of your salary.
And Daniel, thanks for bringing that part up too. Also, and thanks Felipe for saying that they do want it to work. They want it to be successful. And then the other part about it is onboarding. That's another component that we really didn't talk about, which is onboarding, which is so important and major to the whole process. And recruiting and keeping people, because sometimes it's about the retention of, was this individual who was recruited, hired, onboarded, went through the background check. We didn't even talk about that part too. And able to be able to sustainable for a year or 6 months. So that's another milestone part to it, which is the onboarding and retention process.
You know, I think that there's so much value to an onboarding. If you don't have a good onboarding, you could lose good people, bottom line, okay? I've been at places where it was a 1 hour onboarding, which was a joke. I've been at places where it was like a 4 or 5 day orientation. I'm like, I stopped remembering stuff like on day 2. You've burned me out already. I have a lot of papers to look at that I probably will never go back and look at again. The place I'm at right now, hands down, to the best onboarding. You know why? Because it was over a month's period. It wasn't rushed. It was. They allow you and give you space to make mistakes as you learn their way or their systems. They give you a buddy. So in case your manager's not available, that buddy they know is resourceful, is knowledgeable, and it knows what it's like to be a new hire. The biggest thing is that it took a month. Most places are like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days, and we're done, and they're onboarded. Yeah, it doesn't work like that anyway anymore, y'all. Look, I did it for 20 years that way. And trust me, I thought I did a great job. But looking back, it doesn't work.
I haven't worked at a place in about 25 years that hasn't done a month or more.
It hasn't done what?
So, I haven't worked at a place in 25 years that hasn't done onboarding that at minimum was a month.
Good.
So I totally understand exactly what you're saying. I worked at an organization where they flew you out for 2 weeks, and then you came back with another week of onboarding, and then the last week was shadowing.
I mean, that it shows that they care enough to teach you the right way of doing things. And I think that, and again, after that month, what they do matters too. But I mean, I know that I've witnessed and experienced the rushed 1 hour, 2 hour onboarding. Oh, we're going to do our 2 hour onboarding, and we're going to have you meet with 5 people. Go.
Right.
Great.
Right.
Thanks.
Right.
Where's the bathroom? No one's told me that yet.
Right. When can I go? When is lunch?
Yeah.
And the housekeeping part of the job can take, to be honest, like a week, depending. Like if you're doing a multi-site job, forget about it.
No.
So,
Well, how about try a multi-country job, which that's the place where I'm at now, and they've been amazing. I was at a nonprofit, and they were wonderful and they were kind, but they didn't have patience, and probably because they were always filling back their hours, and I get that. But it was like, okay, you've got to figure out a way to have patience for people to learn, because I'll never forget, like, one of the head finance people, everyone on this team, every time somebody new asked something, their response was, I sent it to you on this date. Here I am forwarding the email to you again. I'm like, why are you being such an a-hole? I was like, can you just say, sure, here it is?
Right.
But no, they got to do that little dig. And that's where I'm thinking that makes those little digs, people remember that in the onboarding experience.
I know Dr. Tania Farran always talks about not having a 9 a.m. meeting. and whatnot, and just coming, especially on Mondays. And I kind of learned this because I worked at an organization where we had sites across the country, and people in Vegas, your 9 a.m. is 6 a.m. for them, and having a 9 a.m. and trying to get them on is kind of hard. And I know at times their brain probably is like, "Hey, I wish I could send my AI representative to it, as to take my place." What are your thoughts about the inception and the use of AI, and how is it leading the trends of human resources?
Um, Look, you can say I drank the Kool-Aid, call it whatever you want, but the reality is that AI is just like Microsoft, Google. It's just the next evolution of what we are dealing with. And the reality is, honestly, I want to talk about what people are doing with it and share some best practices instead of worrying. Like, yeah, I do worry about safety. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not the person that's going to protect this world from AI taking over. So let those people take care of that problem because they're not coming to me to solve that. So in the meantime, what can I do? Figure out how to use it for HR. And what I love is that right now in HR, job descriptions. Anyone that's ever had to post a position and deal with a job description knows it's a pain in the butt. It's whether the hiring manager is like being asked, can you write it? HR is being asked, can you write it? Everyone's like, I've never written one, or I don't know how to do this, or I can't remember everything. It was always just a headache. Now, guess what? We have an agent that has all the competencies, all the leveling of our jobs, all the not on payments yet, but all the leveling of the jobs, all the requirements of the jobs, and it tells us if they have certain skills and requirements, what level they should be at. And it was brilliantly built with a lot of input from a lot of people. And now guess what? It's time for our merit cycle, and we're reviewing all the jobs, and everyone's sitting in their old job, like, wait, I run it through. It's like it's updated with all the required stuff. And guess what is one of the newest requirements in every job description? Must have basic fundamental AI skills. Some say must have intermediate AI skills, but every one of them require to have AI skills, just like you did when you had Microsoft skills. And the other areas, so I'm going to make this very quick. There's these technical service reps. They take, they like kind of like call center reps, but they're for like technical service. And we have a need for them in Puerto Rico, right? Well, people were struggling finding people in Puerto Rico that had these skills that could work there, right? So I said, well, let me look at my LinkedIn connections. Well, I don't have a whole lot in Puerto Rico. So guess what? I created an AI agent. And when I did it, they're like, why aren't you doing it on our system? Like, we want you to experiment as much as you can and want. We invite you to experiment. So that's the one thing is you have to have a culture where they invite you to experiment. Don't be scared to. 2, know the guidelines, obviously. But now I'll show them what I did on my chat GPT. I transferred it here. Or what I do is I had created an agent that has the requirements, that has the knowledge of where I'm trying to find people. It's looking at Indeed. It's looking at LinkedIn, and it's looking at certain job sites in Puerto Rico. And I put in the job description, and I said, find me some candidates in these sites. They send me back the candidates with the links to their LinkedIn page. I connect with them, start building up my pipeline. And now I have some DMs going with these people. So if we have openings, I can reach out to them. Now, I did that in 4 hours. That would have taken me at least 4 weeks before.
Even with Google. I mean, even with just going in like that, going in to research that. I love that.
I'm sorry. Y'all can hate me for using AI, but it just saved me 30 days, And when it saves you 30 days, it's going to be valuable, y'all. I'm not saying you hate, but anyone who...
I know what you mean. I use AI every day. I use it all of the time. Why would I not use it to evaluate a spreadsheet or data?
I was against AI.
Really?
I remember that. I remember that a little bit.
Yeah, I wanted to do the work myself.
I'm being sarcastic.
And then here's the other one. The other reason is that it never got the words I was saying clearly. So it has been advancements in AI. They have, I don't know, they found the tool that works for my voice now. So now they're getting clear words out now. So I'm okay with it because the words are actually clear. You know how
But
you,
you
you
make a really
talk and
good
then
point,
a
though.
word pops up, or you write in and then something else, like my thumbs, I don't know what it is.
Yes.
But it's gotten way better. So I am in favor of it now because
I'm so glad you got on board finally.
But you bring up a really good point. People feel like they're cheating. People who are
Mhm.
writing things and how you used to always draft proposals. I'm like, save yourself $8 and ask it to write your draft, and then
Yep.
edit the crap out of it. It's still going to be your product at the end. But they felt like they were cheating. And once they kind of realized, hey, do you know our competitors? All of them are invited to do it. They're like, what? Like, yeah. And look, there they are working out early today. Yeah. I
Well,
mean,
and I just want to add in, as a hiring manager, I've hired hundreds of teachers and people in education over 30 years. And I would love for some people to actually maybe have AI help them write their resume because then I would probably know more about them. Like, have you ever looked at the resume, but then the person looks totally different? And I don't mean that negatively, I mean it positively. Like,
yeah,
they wrote a crummy resume and they're amazing.
I know.
And if I didn't pull them out of that stack by chance, giving them a chance, because, like, well, maybe, I don't know, we'll see. I could have missed this person. So I would love for them to utilize AI to be able to polish their resume, drop in some of the things that they do, and AI will word it, it will improve it, it will organize it, like make a great cover letter. Drop in the job description, drop in your resume, bada bing, bada bang, your cover letter is ready to go.
Yeah,
And
being
reread
well
it.
written.
You should always reread it and do make sure that it is your voice. And you may have to change the tone or, something with it and ask it to recreate it. But
Just
come
because
on.
you're well written doesn't mean you're well spoken. And so people do
Correct.
not assume that just because you can write well, you can speak well. Now,
Hmm.
but
And the
I do
reverse.
expect, yeah, exactly. But I do expect you to be able to explain what you did. Because if you
Yes.
say you can do it and you can't talk about it, then I have an issue.
Right.
And I think that goes to Nick's point of the question she asked about AI, how it's being used in human resources. It's safe to say it's being used to screen your resume.
Look,
Hmm.
and that, I will say, even at where I'm at now, we are eventually going to be instead of a SaaS company, we are going to be an AI company. Is what we're looking at being. Even though it's technology and everything, it's more to be AI focused, and we're recognizing that. Even with that, our recruiters are still going through applications, resumes, and interviewing people. We don't have AI interviews. We are 2,200 employees strong, so we're not tiny. Um, People need to stop worrying about what AI. I'll tell you right now. What we're screening out for AI is: are you able to work in this country? No. Sorry, you're rejected. Can you work these hours? No. Yeah, I'm going to reject you. I mean, these are going to be auto rejections, and I'm sorry, they save me time, and I'm not going to call you for you to tell me, oh yeah, I can
Correct.
work those hours. No.
Correct.
So that's where I want people to realize, just like there's bad actors everywhere, yes, there's bad actors that are using it. Workday screwed up big time, and they cut out everyone over 40 wasn't even being considered, and that was in the back end. That wasn't the recruiter. So there are going to be bad people, but don't let that stop you, and don't let you think that everyone's doing that, because they're not. They're
Thank you.
doing it for the things that are required, and they need to. Like I'm not
Speak-
gonna have AI rule somebody out because they didn't hit the 2-year minimum experience because they had a year and a half. No, hell no, I'm not gonna miss out on that candidate for a year and a half. So I don't want to use it to rule out those people.
You mentioned Workday. What systems that are being in place that are really driving human resources now? I know Workday is a big system.
Workday, you have what used to be, it's now called iSIMS, it's for recruitment. It used to be UltiPro or Ultimate. There's Enterprise, there's Taleo, there's ADP, which I'm sorry is probably my least favorite. ADP was like the golden brand standard when I started HR 30 years ago. It needs to catch up with me.
Yeah, I used to always see it on a check, like a paper check.
Oh yeah, it was the gold standard. It was the gold, and let me stress, was. I mean, and I just came from a company that was using it before. It was painful. I'm like, who are you all? Like, I don't remember. This is not the experience I had before, and I'm sorry to, I'm just calling a spade a spade. But I do think that UKG is one that I use right now, and they're great too. They just have. I wish that they had it all encompassing. They have all their systems talking to each other, but they have their systems a little bit too separated. It should be a little bit more integrated. So whoever it is, every system, there's some complaint about it. There's no gold standard in it.
And honestly, as we complain about the systems, they're way better than they were 30 years ago, which were no systems, which were paper files and paper applications and paper this and mail things in. So 30, 40 years ago. So
I used to take applications home with me and help, and my wife and her roommate would help me write rejection letters. Thank you for applying on a postcard. Get a handwrite them.
So much better, so much better. I know we only have a couple minutes left, so let's talk for just a minute about retention, HR retention. That's something that I think really has kind of come about. And I remember when I was in a brick and mortar school district, we administrators had to do a whole brainstorming session on retention of teachers. It's definitely a profession that's having a hard time retaining teachers, but there's a lot of places that are having a hard time retaining people. And so, what do we do as a business or, an HR department to really encourage and retain our employees?
Talk to them. I mean that so sincerely. I have at places, either I speak with every employee at minimum twice a year to say, how are things going? What would make you stay? What would make you leave? What can we do to help you grow in your career? Anything else you want to talk about? 5 questions, that's it.
Wow.
I know that sounds like phase 5. I swear it's not, but it is 5 questions I do every time. And so now I'm at a place where I have the managers doing it. Here's the thing. The reason why, everyone I'm talking to all of you all out there that are watching this that love analytics, love KPIs, love making sure that you have your dashboard showing you how everyone's doing with the metrics. Will you make sure that you use it to focus on the top performers, not just the bottom performers? Because that's what happens. The top performers get recognized with those metrics during increase time. And then 12 months, they get forgotten about. Bottom performers, they're like, well, we got to get them, resolved, or, we got to get them improving, or they have to get out of here. And there's always just focusing on that and focus complete. So much so that you forget about those top performers and retaining those top performers. So while you should try to retain and help those lower performers improve and stay, because they'll be even more loyal once you do, and you'll retain them longer. Find out what those top performers need and want. Not only will they feel appreciated, they're going to stay. And guess who recommends the best people to work at your company?
That's right.
Top performers.
That's a valid point. That is a valid point.
So all my other points weren't valid?
No,
I'm sorry.
It really is, because I'm sitting here thinking, I always go back to education in my brain. And so I'm thinking, when you're talking about that, we spend a lot of time with students, looking at the kids at the bottom to bring them up. We rah-rah our top kids at the end of things and things like that. But I also think about, there's a lot of people in the middle that we don't spend any time with that really could. So I love that you are taking that time to talk to every employee twice a year. Like, if you don't, the middle of the road people sometimes are doing their job. They're just doing their job. But maybe we haven't stopped and asked them, where do they want to go? What do they want to do? And you can really grow some amazing people that way. And that's something I've learned as a manager, like really looking at everyone. Everyone has a strength somewhere. And if you can build on that and utilize them as a manager, your job is becoming effortless in the sense that people are doing tasks. You're delegating jobs to people who have strengths in those areas. So love that. I love that.
And one last thing I use AI for is I take all those notes from those meetings,
feedback,
And instead of spending hours writing all down, trying to figure out the
Yeah.
AI, see if there's any trends or concerns or areas to focus on, but even more importantly, all the surveys that employees hate. It's at my last job, and it was like they're like, we hate our surveys. I'm like, I know, but they're valuable if they're used right. No one uses them, so I took the data from those surveys, compared it with the conversations, and it was almost amazing at how many things were not mentioned at all in the surveys. And so it is something that I think using AI to help me find out what those trends are, the differences, and the areas to focus on. It really is something that, again, saves me time and allows me to spend time on a solution.
Mm-hmm.
That's the problem. Surveys take so much time. People are exhausted after they review all the data that they don't have energy to solve them.
Mm-hmm. Love that. Oh my gosh, our time has come to a close. Thank you for everyone who has joined us today. Kinga, Nicole. Oh my gosh, we appreciate your participation in the chat and in this conversation. Jackie Hallberg, thank you for joining us. Daniel, thank you. And I've lost some people because I got kicked out because we had a power surge.
There's Peter and Jackie, you said already, and
Daniel. Saving Teens Lives, Be Visible
Christy.
with Me. Christy, thank you so much. Leslie Flowers again. Peter, thank you for being here. We are so grateful for your time this Sunday, your attention, saving teens' lives. So
Melanie Richards.
Melanie Richards, yes. I recognize the profile picture. Thanks for joining us on YouTube. And William Rochelle. And Felipe, thank you, Felipe, for spending your Sunday with us, your evening. We always enjoy being with you. So it was a real treat to have you on today and love this conversation about AI. So we're going to end with closing with a quote.
All right. So we always close with a quote like Dr. Farran said. Felipe, what is your quote?
All right, you want to go first?
If you want.
You know what? Somebody quoted me the other day, and I kind of liked it, so I'm going to share what someone else said because I think it's valuable. Don't burn the bridge. Just close it up because you might need to cross it later on.
Oh, don't burn the bridge. Just close it up because you might need to pass it one day. Yeah, cross it, pass it, open it. I love that one.
I could tweak it a little bit on closing it up, but
Yeah, I love that. So true. Absolutely true.
I'm struggling with that part. Dr. Farran, what's your quote?
Well, I looked up some quotes while we were kind of sitting here, and I found some really good ones about quotes for finding a job. I thought that was appropriate with this one, but I love this one. If opportunity doesn't knock, build a door, by Milton Berle. Now, it made me think of this because it made me think of our network, the 2350 network. That's one piece that I can tell people. Network with people, get talking to people, get on LinkedIn, come and connect with us. You never know who's going to know somebody who's going to know someone. Nick made an example in the chat. So connect, network, talk to people, tell people what you want, what you're looking for, and people will get out there and help you. So if opportunity doesn't knock, build a door. Damian, what's your quote?
Nice. I think that's really a good one. I'm going to make it simple.
Yeah,
reach out to your human resources department for support and services. Join Felipe, so that was my, I'm going with that. And the next one is, I'll just make clear, join Felipe Saturdays. He does social Saturdays. Attend that. He has a good conversation around now on Saturdays. That's at 11, right? 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. He also does Chaos and Coaching with Melissa Houston. That's at 11 on Sunday.
Yes.
And then the 3 days in a row, coming back in September,
yep.
The Workplace Wellness Hour. Yeah, and that's at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So be a part of that, join that. And
I love that one.
Pin those things up. I've been to all of those. I don't go to them as much now considering my day job, but I've always got value and information out of Saturdays. Is a good opportunity with socializing and building network. Chaos and Coaching is the perspective from coaching and those trendy topics and how y'all pair off each other. And then the last thing is Mondays the Workplace Wellness Hour. It's a great group of people, Ashley and Samana, and you have those great conversations around HR and what's trending as well. So continue to keep a pulse on that, people out there, and thank you for your time, everybody.
Thanks, everyone. Have a great evening. Have a great week.
Yes.